Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, Patrick Starr, back in this bitch with another crispy commentary. And today, guys, I'm going to have some Apex Legends playing for you in the background to give you something fun to watch. This is my first game on PC. I was using my Xbox controller because I still haven't figured out how to use my keyboard and mouse yet. But I wanted to talk to you guys about another story, another one of these good high school stories that I have. And this one is about the time that my stomach exploded. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it exploded, but I had an ulcer in my stomach that perforated. And if you know what that means, it means it busted open and there was a hole in my stomach. So, my freshman year of high school, I tried out for the baseball team. I made the baseball team. We were going to be pretty good that year, and our coach knew me since I was little, and he had always wanted me to play for him. So when I went up there, he was really happy that I came and tried out, and it's the first day of practice, and I'm having a hell of a practice. He's fucking loving everything that I'm doing, and it gets to the end of practice. And at the end of practice, we would run bases just to get a little bit of cardio in. And we're running the bases, and I decided that I was going to slide head first into second base. And when I did, I tore my labrum. And if you don't know what that is, that's the cartilage that pretty much holds your shoulder into socket. And I tore that bitch straight off, clean. And my arm was kind of stuck in a really weird position after that. But I told my coach, I was like, Coach, I think there's something wrong. I somehow put my shoulder back in the socket, but he was pretty disappointed about it. I mean, I was disappointed. I shouldn't have done what I did, but I did it anyway. I guess I wanted some style points for all the other guys, but I tear my shoulder. I go and I see an orthopedic, and he gives me a prescription, and it's 1,200 milligrams 3 times a day. Well, I shouldn't say 3 times a day, but 3 times at every meal. So I take this for 2 weeks, and I'm in a sling, and eventually my shoulder gets better, but I start having problems with eating. Like, eating would hurt my stomach, and just doing anything in total would hurt me. And one day I go to school and I'm feeling really bad. I thought maybe, I was sick. I was feeling bad. My stomach was hurting, and I go to practice. And I love baseball. If you guys know me, you know that baseball's been my life since I was very little. And to not want to practice is something that doesn't actually happen for me. Like, I love to do everything with baseball. But I go up to my coach and I said, hey, Coach Long, listen, my stomach there's just something wrong with me. Like, I can't run. I could barely walk around. He was like, man, you go home because you look like a ghost. Like, you look like you're almost dead. And so I get my dad to come get me. Our coach says, man, he just, there's something wrong with him. You need to take him to the doctor. And I was like, nah, maybe I'll be all right. Maybe I don't have to go. And so I go and I lay down in bed and I take a nap, and I wake up and I go take a shower. And I was in the shower for like an hour because I just didn't feel like moving at this point. But I'm in the shower. I start to feel a little bit better after I get out of the shower, and I was like, hey, I'm going to try and eat some food. So I go and I get myself a plate, and I was about to eat some like mashed potatoes and gravy, and I take my first bite, and as soon as I do, I feel this hot stabbing sensation in my stomach, and I just roll over roll into the ground, and I'm just yelling at the top of my lungs. It's like a banshee screech. It was the most terrifying thing you would ever hear in your life. And my dad is freaking out because he doesn't know what's going on. and I just run to the bathroom and I start puking, and I puked and I puked, and I was so sick to my stomach. And at the end, I was like, man, I feel a little better now, but my stomach's still on fire. And so I'm laying in the bed, and my dad says, do you want to go to the hospital? And I said, I don't really want to go to the hospital, but I feel like I might need to, but let's just wait it out a little bit. And he gave me some Pepto, and I drank it, and it didn't really help any. So after about an hour, it's probably 9:30 at this time at night. And 9:30 at night when you're a freshman in high school is like, oh shit, I should already be in bed because I've got a lot of stuff I need to get done. I need to make sure I've got all my sleep in order. But I was laying in bed yelling pretty much. And so my dad decides he's going to take me, and we go to the ER, and I'm just sitting there sweating, and I walked in hunched over because I couldn't stand up straight. And so I'm like, Dad, I think I'm about to puke. And they give me this puke bag, and this puke bag is like, it's long enough you could probably put your arm in it, and it was just a little bit wider than probably an arm. So it was a very strange puke bag, but they give it to me, and I puke one time, and I fill it all the way up. And I know that this is, nasty, and I'm telling you guys this, but this is what happened, and this is how I remember it. But I puked, and it was straight black, and I didn't know what was going on. So I told my dad, and he said that that's not normal. And the lady at the front desk is like freaking out, and she said, well, that's blood in his vomit. That's just straight blood. And so, I'm freaking out because I'm puking blood. My dad's freaking out because no one's helping us and I'm puking blood. And we didn't know what to do. They take me, I get a CAT scan, and they see that there's air leaking into my abdomen. And thank God that they noticed it when they did, because it could have been really serious. It was serious, but it could have been a lot worse. I probably could have died. But after they do this, they ask my dad, they're like, hey, do you want to go to a local hospital? I mean, I was already at a hospital, but do I want to go to a bigger city hospital, or do I want to go to Le Bonheur? And my dad was like, just take him to Le Bonheur. That'll probably be best for him. And so they call the helicopter in. Helicopter picks me up. We stop on the way to Le Bonheur. Like probably 30 minutes had gone by, and they're like, hey, we got to refuel. So they refuel the helicopter. The dude tells me, dude, do you know that you snore really loud? And I guess he was just trying to, calm me down, because at this point, I'm hurting really bad, and I'm in a helicopter, so I know that something's really wrong, but I don't know what it is. And so he gives me some more medication, and I ended up going back to sleep. I wake up, and he says, hey, buddy, we're here. And I was like, wow, that was really fast. He's like, it's been probably 45 minutes since you were last awake. And I was like, well, that's okay. And then the next thing I remember is I woke up, and I didn't have a shirt on. And I didn't really think anything about it because I was laying in a hospital room. But I didn't have a shirt on. And so shirtless me sitting there, and I'm like, damn, I really need some water. So I asked one of my nurses, I said, hey, can I have a little bit of water? I'm really, really thirsty. And she says, yeah, I'll be right back with it, sweetie. I said, thank you, ma'am. And she leaves. Well, I passed out again. And when I woke up, there was a different nurse, and I didn't have any water. And I said, hey, can I have my water now? And that nurse, she was so mean for no reason. She turned to me and yelled at me. She was like, no, you can't have any water. Why could you have water? And I was like, I don't know. I'm sorry. But she tells me that, and I pass out again. I wake up, and I don't have any clothes on at this point. And my anesthesiologist comes in, and he's like, hey, buddy, I'm going to be taking care of your anesthesia for the operating room. What do you want it to smell like? And I was like, and me sitting here, I'm 14 years old. I'm like, holy shit, anesthesia has different, scents to it. And let me just tell you guys right now that that shit did not have any different scent. I got in there and he said, all right, buddy, take about 5 deep breaths for me. And I took about 2 and I woke up the next day. But they went in and they fixed the hole in my stomach from the perforated ulcer. And I sat in the bonner for 10 days. You guys know how it is when somebody, gets hurt or gets sick. People usually bring them like baskets of food and stuff. Well, considering I just had a hole in my stomach, I wasn't allowed to eat anything for 10 days. And so I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all this food that people just kept bringing me. And oh my God, it was the worst experience I think I've ever had, because you never really know how hungry you are until you're not like physically allowed to eat food. So I'm sitting there looking at all this food and I'm like, yo, doc, since I'm not allowed to eat anything, could I like lick a Pringle or something? And he was like, yeah, as long as you don't swallow it, because if you do, you'll rip your stitches out. And I was like, well, totally worth the risk. And I licked a Pringle. But I didn't really do much for the next couple of days. I just kind of laid in bed. I had this one nurse. I called him Ninja Nurse because I would wake up randomly in the middle of the night and he would just be there. But other than that, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please click the like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and I'd like for the channel to grow. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys next time. This has been Paytoon, signing out.